It's Gina from Crochet. Welcome to my How to Crochet series. Part 5, adding half double crochet rows. So on this quick little video we're going to talk about how we can make our rows the same size rather than when you crochet they start coming in on themselves. Okay, all you're going to need is 2 stitch markers, a hook and some yarn. So I'm just going to do a very quick one. I'm just going to chain maybe 10. So then we've got our turning chain, and then we're going to do a half double into this one like that. I'm hoping that you would have caught my other tutorials, and so you'll know what a half double is. And then you're going to get your stitch marker. This is your first stitch, and you're going to put your stitch marker under both parts of the V, and then you're going to do a half double in all the chains across. And I'm coming up to my last stitch. I'm going to put a half double in that chain there, look. And then I'm going to put a stitch marker in that stitch. Okay, so through both parts of the V, so you can see the V on top. Then to add a new row when you're half doubling, chain 1 and turn. And now you're going to see that the next stitch you need to go into is this one. So take the stitch marker out, then you're going to do your half double into that stitch, and then you're going to replace your stitch marker because this becomes the first stitch of your new row. Okay, so that's the first stitch. So now you're going to go all the way back along, making sure you go through both parts of the stitch. So you go under the stitch really. The stitch is like a V. If you look at it, it just looks like a V. So go under both parts and go all the way along. Now you'll notice that the thing that looks like your last stitch on this row, this one, is actually not your last stitch. Your last stitch is actually down here, which is why if you put a stitch marker in, you can clearly see that there's another stitch. So go through that stitch there, then take your stitch marker out because you no longer need it there. But now the last stitch of this row is now this one. So put your stitch marker back in here. This is a bit of a faff. Until you know where your first and your last stitches are, I would do it. So the first stitch of this row is this one here. So do a half double into that one, take the stitch marker out. Now the first stitch on this row is now this V here. So get your stitch marker while you remember and put it through that V so that you know where your last stitch on the next row is. And then as you can see, the project is straight. It's not getting thinner, it's straight. All right.